So how many of you have taken a computer science course? Then I have a confession to make. All of you have more technical training than I do. I don't know how to code. I've never taken a computer science course. And I was never even interested in business until I started my first software company. In fact, I was a high school teacher before I invented a billion-dollar software product. A student once said to me, "Mr. Yueh, don't you think it's strange for a teacher to run off and pursue a dream career?" I thought about it, and it is a bit strange. So today, I'm going to talk about how easy it can be for you to pursue a dream career in tech. Like many of you, I used to believe that the tech dream was for the geeks in Silicon Valley. But barriers are crumbling. Access is increasing. The innovation cycle is the wheel that turns our world. And as it turns, it continues to create incredible opportunities. But too few people are pursuing these opportunities. Let's go back in time for a moment to understand why that's important. In the 18th century, Adam Smith described the invisible hand, where self-interested actions in a free market economy benefited all of society. Today, however, we have the digital hand. It's a bit more sinister. The digital hand automates away the jobs of the many while concentrating wealth in the hands of the few. Did you know that the top 10 tech billionaires are worth more than half the world's population? And the digital divide is getting wider every day. Dreams of white picket fences have been replaced with fears of artificial intelligence and robots automating away all of our jobs. The world is increasingly divided between haves and have-nots, tech creators and tech consumers. But there's a silver lining. Anyone can be a tech creator today. So why are so few people pursuing the dream? How many of you have read Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell? Gladwell describes the 10,000 hours it takes to become an expert in any domain. First, we have to stop listening and believing to these self-limiting narratives. In reality, it only took me 500 hours before I invented my first software product. So how did I learn about tech? Well, I'm sorry to say I didn't learn about it in school. I talked to smart people, I searched the internet. That's it. It sounds ridiculous, but it's true. I can still remember the day when the Idea toaster popped. I was 24, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I had zero background or credibility in technology. But I was sitting in a coffee shop in sunny Southern California when all my ideas suddenly came together in a moment of clarity. Back in 1999, companies all backed up their data to tapes. But TiVo and MP3 players were already moving data from tapes onto disk and delivering a superior user experience. So my idea was to move data from enterprise tape backups onto disk. That simple idea changed my life, and it ended up disrupting a $5 billion industry. The world needs to know how easy it can be to pursue the tech dream and why it's getting easier all of the time. Between the time when I started my first and second software companies, which were nearly a decade apart, it became dramatically easier to start and scale a company. Today, a decade later, it's even easier. It's a phenomenon that I call fintech, and anyone can take advantage of it. It all started in the early 90s with the internet and the invention of the World Wide Web. These created a fulcrum for the lever arm of technology. Around the same time, Linus Torvald made a major contribution to the lever arm when he released his free open source operating system, Linux. Then in the mid-2000s, they released Git, which helped the world of open source developers more easily share and access their free software. You see, you don't have to code software if it's already been coded for you. Both of my software companies, Avamar and Delphix, would have been impossible without enormous foundations of open source. You can take all these components built by open source developers and assemble them into your own product for free. Pretty great, right? It's like stealing candy from a baby, but it's legal. Around the same time as Git, Amazon invented the cloud. Apple followed with the iPhone, and then Google followed with Android. These became mega platforms with billions of users. So today, you don't need to buy and manage fields of servers. You can get just what you need in the cloud. You don't need to build a platform and scale to support billions of users. Just launch an app in an app store. And take a look at the highest tech in the world today, the most advanced software, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. All of these are available as services in the cloud. In other words, the highest tech created by the world's smartest engineers has already been commoditized, and you can use it to build any app you want. As a result, the amount of innovation it takes to move the world has gotten thinner and thinner, which is why I call it thin tech. Now, there are guys out there like Elon Musk who are after thick tech, literally building rocket ships to Mars. Don't try to do that. You'll probably fail. If you want maximum return for minimum effort, then you need to take advantage of the lever arm of technology that's been building over the last several decades. It's how a high school teacher ended up a software CEO. I just used components built by innovators before me, and I layered on a thin amount of innovation on top. It's why the idea for a product is the only thing that really matters. Now, you might be thinking, it takes a lot more than an idea to build a company. How long do you think it took Mark Zuckerberg to code up Facebook? 1 week. One coder in college alone. That's all it took to launch an app that wastes time for everybody around the world. But what about everything else he needed to learn? A great product idea can trigger an avalanche of resources to help you build and scale your company. Zuckerberg didn't know how to build a company, how to manage people, how to raise venture capital financing. But after Facebook went viral, Sean Parker, the founder of Napster, came to Zuckerberg and wanted in. He brought all of his considerable experiences, along with his Silicon Valley network. Together, they negotiated their first outside investment from Peter Thiel, the co-founder and CEO of PayPal. Thiel brought his considerably larger network and his lessons learned scaling PayPal, including his singular focus for his companies and employees to do one thing really well. That one thing for Facebook was growth by number of users. And wow, have they grown. When we look at the scale and complexity of Facebook today, it clouds our memory of where it began, creating the illusion of unattainability. But it's just the avalanche effect. It all started with a simple idea. And Zuckerberg didn't even come up with his idea. He stole it from the Winklevoss twins. And great product ideas are more mundane than most people think. Let's take a look at the start of some of the biggest tech companies in the world today. Two men are standing on a street corner in Paris. It's snowing, they're cold, they're having a hard time hailing a cab. Uber is born. Two friends move from New York to San Francisco. They're jobless, having a hard time paying for rent. A big conference comes to town like this one, booking up all the hotel rooms. They get this bright idea to buy a couple airbeds and rent them out online. Airbnb is born. Two fraternity brothers are talking. One says to the other, "I wish these questionable photos I'm sending to a girl would automatically disappear." There's another name for those photos I won't use here. And shame on you if you've ever sent one. The other fraternity brother turns back to the first and says, "That's $1 million idea." But Evan Spiegel was really wrong about that. It was a deca-billion-dollar idea. And that's how Snap was born. These are surprisingly mundane, everyday ideas. If there is one great lesson I've learned building software companies, it's that innovation is more mundane and repeatable than most people think. When I started my second software company, Delphix, I decided to move to Silicon Valley to learn what the Valley was all about. Within a 15-mile radius of our headquarters, we had 6 of the top 10 technology companies in the world. That's a lot of success in a really small area. And there's a reason for all of that repeated success. To make the point even more extreme, you've probably heard of the PayPal Mafia. The early employees at PayPal went on to found an incredible string of successes, including LinkedIn, YouTube, Yelp, and Yammer. That's not even including the serial entrepreneurs like Elon Musk, who built SpaceX, Tesla, SolarCity, and The Boring Company. If it came down to luck, the string of successes in Silicon Valley and at PayPal would be the meteorological equivalent of lightning striking the same place 100 times in succession. It's not about luck. It's about frameworks. The world's best entrepreneurs learn, share, and apply repeatable frameworks to their businesses and products. Reid Hoffman, one of the PayPal Mafia and the founder of LinkedIn, told me he applies frameworks to decisions everywhere, even for what he's going to order at a restaurant. I'll share 2 of my frameworks that I use to build my companies. Thinking big and small is a framework anyone can adopt for innovation. It starts with looking for big picture value seams, these gaping holes that open in the world around us. As technology evolves, it creates opportunities to deliver incredible value. If you don't provide value to the world, you have nothing. At Delphix, for instance, we deliver data 1,000 times faster for many of the world's biggest companies. Look for changes in the world created by technology or sources of frustration. Why is it so hard to find anything good to watch when I have Netflix, Amazon Prime, and cable TV? Or why do I have to carry around a wallet and keys when I have so many payment options and sensors in my iPhone? Or why are doctors always late to their own appointments when they carry around online calendars in their pockets? Do they do it on purpose? Now, finding problems is just the first part. You have to pair it with the idea for a product that can take control of the value seam, something small that any team can build. Without the product, you're just complaining, which can be entertaining but won't pay as well, unless you're Jerry Seinfeld. Envision a product that can deeply solve the problem. What tech does it take to build that product? How does that tech work? Keep asking questions until the idea toaster pops. It's not enough to think about generic concepts like market opportunity or user experience. You have to be constantly searching the world for value seams and the ideas for products that can take control of them. Master the tension of simultaneously thinking big and small, and innovation will happen. And the best part is you can practice it every day without cost or risk. It's why I have more than 20 product ideas just waiting for my time and attention. So what about everything it takes so that you can learn how to build tech products? I have another framework for that I call learning slow and fast. It's similar to how Elon Musk describes how he's mastered a range of domains, from payments to electric vehicles to rocket ships. According to Musk, it's important to view knowledge as a sort of semantic tree. Make sure you understand the fundamental principles, that is the trunk and the big branches, before you get into the leaves and details. Otherwise, there's nothing for them to hang on to. Take your time to understand the big framing concepts. When I was learning about the data storage industry, I started with big factors like the trade-offs between the different types of storage media. You could see that disk drives were plummeting in cost compared to tape on a per gigabyte basis, a long-term trend that would upset the industry. Once I built a solid knowledge foundation, it gave rise to my first product idea. I knew that smart software could help me take early advantage of constantly falling disk prices to disrupt the industry. You'll know you've built a solid knowledge foundation when you can pass a series of self-administered tests. First, you can teach any of the core concepts to a reasonably intelligent person. Second, You can begin assembling these technology Lego blocks into new and innovative combinations. And third, you know these new combinations will work without having to ask an expert. If you've done it correctly, streams of information that used to flow past you will sort and fill in the foundation, building a fast-growing pyramid of knowledge. If you never get to learning fast, you never built a strong enough foundation. Go back to learning slow first. The more you really learn, the more you'll retain from what you read in conversations with experts. It's how an English major ended up with over 30 software patents. Of course, not everyone can build a killer app. It takes brains and guts and perseverance. But more people can build a disruptive tech business than those who think they can. Maybe there's an innovator inside of you. There's never been a better time to start the innovator's journey. There are no gatekeepers to stop you. You don't need to know how to code. And anyone, anywhere in the world can pursue the dream. Think big and small until you come up with a great product idea. Learn slow and fast until you master your target domain. Once the idea toaster pops, it will change your life. You won't be able to stop talking about it, people will want to fund you, and people will want to come work for you. That's how it all started for me, and that's how easily it can get started for you. May the force of disruption be with you.